Welcome. Are you ready to discover a new way to understand yourself? I'm Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and join me on this journey of self discovery this evening. We're going to drop into our bodies. We're going to come out of our thinking minds and really step into a whole new way of being tonight. And I have a really amazing show for all of you. And I want to remind you, if you ever miss an episode of Nourish the Soul as we go live on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, you can always check me out on Apple Podcast, Amazon. I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can download our episodes. So tonight we're going to talk about success and shifting our understanding, our paradigm of success from hard to easy. How many of us out there that are listening have something they want to be successful at, to see themselves achieve, whether that's greater prosperity, a healthy, loving relationship, maybe it's a purchasing of a new home or relocating to a place that you can easily afford, or perhaps it's regarding your health and well-being. I know many of you have something in your heart you truly want to see happen in your life. And I want to ask you if you could put an end to this process of achieving this from being hard and really implement an easier, more flowing, absolutely less stressful way of being to arrive at a new space within your life where you feel proud of yourself, you feel excited and fulfilled and content. Would you, right? What if we could unlock the answer to this from making things so hard, right? Especially if you're, kind of like a high achiever, like we've been talking about in our previous episodes. And, you can have this tendency to be very hard on yourself. You kind of criticize yourself a lot to motivate yourself to reach new horizons, or, feel like you have to use that as a motivator to be able to even get yourself to get going on your plans or ways in which you're trying to figure out to get from A to B. What if we could change all of that? Well, the first step, let's start tonight by dropping into our heart, right? That's the very first step to anything we want to really create with intention and harness the power we have within ourselves to change our reality. Our heart knows the answer. It is our presence. It is our awareness. And it is the part of us that takes us out of being the interpreter of our life. And it allows us to be the observer of life. And as an observer, you have the option to decide how you want to see and understand life, including the circumstances that arise in your life that are unexpected, to things not working out the way that you may have planned, to even the experience of physical aches, pains, and disease. We can come into our heart and we can access a presence within us that has far more wisdom, that has far more expansive ways of seeing than our mind can even begin to start to tap into. But as we learn to bring our attention to our heart and come into this space and connect with it, we can teach our mind and our bodies to open up to this beautiful flow of energy and begin to start to make decisions and choices in our life from that perspective, from that vantage point. Because, like I've said in many of my other shows, everything in life is perspective. Everything in life is dependent on how we see it. To one, good, to the other, bad. To one, right, the other, wrong. So we want to understand that's the way our world is designed, and that a lot of our thinking is black and white and things appear very linear. But indeed, we have way more options and possibilities to entertain than what we may have been taught, what we may have previously accepted. And that at any given moment, we're actually just one choice away from a new reality. So let's all take a deep breath together, breathing in, filling our lungs, letting it go. One more time, breathing in, and this time focusing our attention on our heart, perhaps placing a hand there and letting it all go. And with your attention on your heart, affirm to yourself now, I now am connected to my heart. I am now open to the wisdom of my heart. I am now willing to see my life, myself, and others through my heart. I am ready this evening, today, and this experience to let my mind rest and for my heart to show me what it needs to show me, to allow me to see what I need to see and release what I need to release, to step into the highest version of me that would benefit all I reach in my life now. And as you step into that place and you welcome this energy, I want to read a passage from a book called The Way of the Heart. And as you, as the soul, the individual divine spark, begin to choose to withdraw the attention, to withdraw the value you have placed upon all things, and as you learn to simplify the nature of your own consciousness, as you begin to realize you can surrender into something that seems beyond you, that you can entertain the insane thought of trusting the invisible, you come more and more to be less and less. And as you become less and less of what you thought you were, conversely, you become more and more of what your Father, the Creator, the universe designed you to be. The thought of perfect love in form, a channel, a simple vehicle through which love of the Spirit can shine forth. And your only task becomes the cleaning of your windows, the polishing of your floors, and the weeding of your garden, so that light can pour forth unimpeded. We are far more powerful than our minds can comprehend. So just coming out of this space and returning to your space, perhaps opening your arms, stretching your hands, or just becoming more attuned now, we're going to shift into introducing this concept that I prepared for tonight. What if we could shift out of hard and into easy when it comes to creating the things we truly desire in life? What if we could unattach ourselves from one way of thinking that we've known perhaps our entire life, right? Life is hard. What is this woman saying? She has no clue what she's talking about. She's probably had it easy. I can imagine some people might say that about this message, but it's far from the truth. Because on our journey of exploration of our inner worlds, we come to realize that there are many things we face that we have created to be challenges that we must humble ourselves to overcome in order to realize more of who we are and authentically express that out into the world. That is a journey for the most committed and the ones who are most dedicated to shining their light. And I know many of you are. So we don't have to necessarily plug in this construct that we so all very well know that success in our life means it's an uphill battle, right? Has anyone ever felt like when they want to grow their prosperity, when they want to, expand their health and well-being, maybe reach a certain physical shape, weight, or size, or perhaps even bring forward a love in their life or expand their new business into a new level of being, right? That they haven't known, that it's like you anticipate you need to climb up this really steep mountain, and it can be arduous, and there's a lot of pushing, and there's a lot of force, and there's a lot of effort. And it's like you finally reach this moment where you've gotten to the top and you get, this moment of being at peace and this celebration, this feeling of being proud of yourself. Your bank account has risen. You finally met that person. You've reached that goal weight. You have that big event you're attending, right? You've attracted new employees. Everything's flowing. And yet you pause there up at the top and you wonder, what next climb are you going to have to embark on? What next steep challenge are you going to have to, exhaustingly climb up to be able to achieve the next thing that is on your mind's, eye, for you to be able to feel that feeling of being proud again, and as though you have peace, and as though you feel in yourself accomplished, right? And often along the way, we look for our cheerleaders, our peers, or family, or friends to kind of boost our confidence, to give us this validation. You can do it. All this hard work will pay off. And essentially, we're just training ourselves and ingraining ourselves that this is what life is. I'll be very blunt. I have lived this paradigm and I know it. I've lived it in my prosperity world. I've lived it in my relationship world. I've lived it in my spiritual evolution. I've lived it in the ways in which I thought I needed to be in order to be a mentor for others, right? And even in my health. I mean, many of you know the stories about my health, the struggles I've had with my own body image. So this is a paradigm I know very well, and why I can successfully bring people who are high achieving by nature like me into a new realm of operating where we don't necessarily have to use this perception to create and source our life from. We can create something completely different. So we're going to take a quick break and dive deeper into the subject when we get right back.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
If you don't have your health, what do you really have? It's time to feel good in your body and shift from struggle to ease. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul, where we explore the sacred wisdom of your body while you sit back, relax, and go on a journey of self-discovery. Join me every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to awaken your heart, transform your well-being, and unlock a deeper understanding of yourself.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Shifting out of hard and into easy. I am Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul talk radio show and podcast. And tonight we're talking about totally transforming our paradigm of how we achieve our heartfelt desires in life, how we actually, grow and expand into bigger new experiences, right? It's the expansion and the feeling of being proud and happy and content that we all so crave. But we actually make the experience of getting there very hard, right? How many of us have ever found ourselves saying, it requires hard work to achieve anything? Life is hard, right? And I totally have given my brain power to these opinions and constructs. And I like to form them in that way because, as an observer of life from the point and perspective of my heart, I have options to decide how I want to experience life. I'm not just the interpreter, but I am the awareness of myself in life, the awareness of my interactions with others and my world, and I get to decide. And that's what I love to teach my clients. We get to decide, because I used to think life was supposed to be hard. Success in my career, my relationships, and health and prosperity, I had to push myself, work really long hours, sacrifice important parts of my life, and always do more. I know you guys can relate, because this mindset creates so much frustration, exhaustion, and suffering. And our bodies take the brunt, right? On our journey here on this podcast, we're always coming back to our sacred temples, because our body speaks our mind. And through the awareness of our heart, we can change the story we tell and the experiences we have. Because success doesn't have to be hard. What if it could be something else? What if we could let go of those beliefs, particularly this belief, life is hard. I have to work hard, right? Because if we know that our perception is our source of creation, if we use that as the material in which we're going to construct our reality, that will be the reality. And we have so much power to entertain an infinite possibility of different alternative realities. At any point, we can come and decide we want things to be different. Again, we're one choice away from new realities. Because what if success in life and gaining that feeling of feeling content and fulfilled and a sense of being proud of ourselves could be the experience that we have as we achieve something, because we step into a deeper trust. We actually surrender to this invisible energy we can't see, yet has created everything that it surrounds us, right? If we just look out in nature, we can see that there is some sort of creative intelligence that has allowed for the trees to come out of the ground and blossom and bear branches and leaves, and the flowers to bloom and be bright and vibrant colors, and for the bees and the butterflies to flit around. What if success is being able to really lean into this, trust and step into this flow, that life could be easy, that all is in balance, that things are flowing to me, that I can surrender, let go, and give it to this higher intelligence to take care of me. Oof, takes a weight off our shoulders when we start to allow ourselves to entertain that possibility and live by that possibility more and more and more as we let go of the ways we thought we had to be and do and think in this world. So let's begin by getting clear about, I want to ask you, and this to be an interactive, experiential type like part of our discussion. I want you to get present. What are you really wanting to achieve in your life that would make you feel successful? That feeling of being proud, that feeling of taking the weight off your shoulders, the feeling of not having that pressure anymore, that feeling of just like peace and contentment. Take a moment, maybe close your eyes, maybe bring your hand back into your heart as this is your place of presence, your truth, the truth of who you are. And take a few breaths and really get present. What is it that I want? Let your heart show you. Is it a greater prosperity? Is it, a partnership that's very loving? Is it better health? Is it more freedom in your business? So employees to take the responsibilities that you carry easily from you. Is it a new house or apartment? Maybe it's to expand your family. I want you to really tap into how that would make you feel, how proud you would be, how happy you'd feel, how fulfilled you'd feel if you could see yourself holding what you want as your eyes are closed in your heart. That's what you're seeking. That's the feeling you're looking for. But the process of getting there, what have you learned that it needs to be? Because if we can see it in our hand, with our eyes closed, connected to our heart, it is living in a dimension that is only one thought away from where we are right now. That is a truth. And I feel very strong in sharing that because we as a cohort of people living in this world right now as a shared collective, humanity as we call it, need to remember our power. I want to ask you, what have you been taught as you start to let go of the vision? You start to release it from the heart center, letting go of what you want to achieve. You just want to get present to in this podcast. What have we been taught to accomplish something? What have been the ways in which we've understood how we get from A to B? Generally humans learn by exposure and repetitive patterns and by experience, right? So if we all just kind of take a moment and think, okay, what was I exposed to growing up? What were the kinds of patterns that I saw? What were the kinds of experiences that I had that could possibly shape the way in which I understand how to accomplish something, which could have possibly created an opinion I've held that it takes a lot of work to achieve something you truly desire. It requires a lot of effort and force. It means you have to sacrifice some important element of your life. It means you have to miss out on important things, parties, games, seeing a child grow up. You have to be at work. Did anybody ever see any of this? Or, in fact, when they were growing up, watched any of their own parents or grandparents going through these kinds of experiences, holding these kinds of constructs unknowingly, just doing it because it was a normal for them. Because we're also coming out of a generational cohort of people that experienced very real challenges from World War I to World War II to, civil unrest in the 60s and 70s to the Cold War. A lot of these things were very real, to inflation, to things, completely economically going downhill. Well, we're in really no different times. It's just that we have, in many ways, been able to expand our reach for information and our understanding of what this world is, versus many of these generations did not. They just knew I had to put my head down, get to work, and do what I needed to do to be able to survive, which is very real. But if we look around right now, yes, there are a lot of people who are still striving to survive, but there is a plenty of people that are not necessarily needing to survive because they have shelter, they have access to food, they have a vehicle, they have a means of work that can provide for them. Yet, how did we understand life? What did we interpret? Even as we went off to school, our teachers probably gave us a list of spelling words and said, okay, memorize these words. There's about 15 of them. And then tomorrow you're going to be time tested. Whoever experienced that, right? And suddenly now there's all this pressure. You have to go and study the words. You have to make sure you memorize them. There's all this stress. You have to force yourself to do it. It's not easy. And then you have to sit down the next day and you have to remember everything. And the measure is, if you get these many words right, you pass. And if you get these many words wrong, you fail. And how many of us maybe had a couple of times, if not at least one, where we didn't get the number correct of spelling words needed to pass? Or we felt like we wouldn't, and it was like, oh my God, this is so hard, right? And we did that time and time and time and time again because our culture reinforces this, that we need to be under a state of pressure and stress and force ourselves to learn something and spit it back out to know the facts of things versus in the intuitiveness of life. None of our teachers, maybe some of you did, were bringing us out in nature and teaching us how to plant gardens and grow our own food, were they? And the flow that occurs when we put a seed in the ground and something comes out of it that we can eat. And the lack of control we have over that process. So we're going to dive more into this in the next segment. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on talkradio.nyc.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
If you don't have your health, what do you really have? It's time to feel good in your body and shift from struggle to ease. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul, where we explore the sacred wisdom of your body while you sit back, relax, and go on a journey of self-discovery. Join me every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to awaken your heart, transform your well-being, and unlock a deeper understanding of yourself.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. This is Elizabeth Tripp. You're listening to Nourish the Soul Talk radio show and podcast. And I want to remind you, if you're in seeking mode of a community, of your tribe, right, a place where you can call home, we have created a special place called the Inner Light Tribe, where we are awakening our heart and stepping into and embracing our true power. This is a safe place where you can actually experience a library of meditations and different types of activations and ways in which you can shift in real time, anywhere, in any place in the world, your own perception of yourself and step into a greater authentic expression so that you can be the light this world truly needs. Visit us at theinnerlighttribe.com. So today we are talking about success from hard to easy. And in the last segment, I was just talking about, where's our exposure to this construct that life is hard, that requires a lot of effort to achieve, our health and well-being, to be a certain shape, size, and fitness, right? That's a great example. We'll go more into that in a little bit, but where did we learn that things have to be such a struggle? Because it is a collective paradigm, and that means it's a very strong belief and real for a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's not real, because opinions, when believed, materialize. They become real. What I'm saying is that we have options. We have the power to decide differently and to help our mind, from a compassionate awareness, understand where we may have had these experiences, whether it's at home, watching our parents having to work and go to their job way longer hours than, other people maybe they had known were, right? How many parents had to work overtime? How many people experienced both parents working? How many people maybe struggled even watching parents not even being able to pay the bills on time, or seeing parents maybe struggle to get an education, to be able to pay for it, having to do work and school, work during the day and get a degree at night, right? How many of us maybe watched a parent really struggle with their body, their health, their fitness, and put a lot of time and money and energy into diets and fitness programs that left them feeling less than excited about the results they've gotten, right? as we flip through Shape magazine and Glamour and see all these really fit men and women as our model of success in life, right? Or we go to the movies and we watch, you know, the kinds of partnerships we think we should be in because it's like Disney, right? There's a princess in a tower and there's a prince on a white horse riding up to save her, to bring her out of the dark misery. Well, isn't my husband or my boyfriend supposed to be doting all of me all the time, saving me from my troubles and taking care of me so I can just sit back and relax, right? These are real cultural paradigms that, when we accept and plug in, what happens when we go down to, sit with ourselves intimately, because we all reach these crossroads in our life and we're like, okay, I'm ready for something new, or I really don't like the way this is going, or I'm actually sick and unhealthy and I have this health issue, so I have to make a change. Or, I'm really struggling to pay my bills and I'm sick and tired of it. So I need to, manifest something greater, or I have to go back to school. We all are faced with different points in our life, but we have to decide, right? And from that point, we source our decision through a perception. Remember, everything is perception. So we use what we know, and we may use what we have seen, what repetitive patterns have been very familiar for us. Well, it's really hard to make money. It's difficult to lose weight. Being in a relationship is really painful. It never works out. He's not the knight in shining armor. Or she says one thing and does another. I can't trust her. I've done so many workshops on these subjects, and I've looked at them in my own personal life very, very, very deeply. And I've come to realize that our minds, because this is a mental universe, have the strength to shape and create anything that we put our focus, our awareness towards. Because, as I was reminding you, our heart is the present. It is the I am and whatever we put there after it. It is the awareness in which we experience life through that we can create life from. And when we know that, right, we can become the awareness towards our mind and help our mind from a compassionate place and say, this isn't necessarily true. It can be what I've known and it can be what's very familiar. But actually, if I keep telling myself that this doesn't have to be my reality, it doesn't have to be what I have to give my focus to, and I reclaim my sovereignty over deciding what is real or not, even despite the circumstance, right? We can overcome some very challenging things. So, where do we learn that life is hard? I think you guys get a pretty good gist of this, right? Family, socially, culturally, environmentally. And it teaches us that anything in life that we want, it's a sacrifice, including, if we want to be in a partnership, means we have no more autonomy. We have to do what our partner wants to do. We don't get to travel or have our own space and time. Becomes, codependent. Who's ever had those fears that that would be what they end up in? And then they do. We want to watch how our mind makes assumptions and interprets things and uses our past to do that. Because if we saw our parents go through these struggles and we say we don't want that and we put all our hard work and effort to avoiding it, we are actually giving the thing that we avoid more power. We're giving the past experience so much more weight to then become the reality in which we live. And until we face it, we'll keep getting experiences that are very, very similar to what we've had in the past. And that's our inclination. That's our bell in our head that we want to start to realize is we have a lesson here to learn. We have a choice to make. We can either do the same thing we've done in the past over and over again, thinking we'll get a different result. Einstein called that insanity. Or we can change how we do things and see what happens. That's intelligence. So we want to start to see, and what I want to point out is that what I've been talking about, this energy of do, to be, to achieve, to arrive, to force, to push, to finally feel that exalting energy of proudness and feeling fulfilled. Short-lived though, it's like a drug, only for the next challenge to come in, is a very yang energy, meaning it's very masculine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that it's been overly used. It's been an overly focused type of way of being. It's been, something that has been ingrained in a part of our society in a way that is to an extreme. We live in a society where exhaustion is glorified. I mean, I've had clients who have told me, I'm in my busy season. I can't make it to this session. And so they are glorifying the work that they think they need to do versus their own intimacy with themselves to achieve something that in their mind they have made important or valued, and bring themselves to the brink of exhaustion where they sacrifice their own mental health, a time and space with someone that could help them feel better in order to get what they think they need or want is important at the cost of their own mental, emotional, and physical well-being. How many of us have ever done that? I'll be the first to admit it, because I don't have shame anymore about the choices that I've made. I own them all because I am utterly responsible for every single thing in my life. Everything. I'm responsible for how my relationships are. I'm responsible for the boundaries or lack thereof that are in my life with family or friends. I'm responsible for my health and well-being. I'm responsible for my prosperity or not. There's no excuse, because I know that my heart, it sees everything as neutral, and it knows I have the power to decide whatever I want to experience in this life. It's very powerful. So, what are we going to do to transform this, right? This masculine energy, how do we balance it? How do we come into what we call more of like this right brain type of being, right? We have a left brain and a right brain. The left is very logical, it's very black and white, it's very thinking. And the right brain is actually considered to be more heart connected. You could call it the bridge to the truth, the heart center, the presence, the awareness that I've been talking about in this session, this conversation. It's intuitive. It's intuitive, like the seed we put into the soil, that without even any of our effort, except the natural sunshine and the rain coming down and nurturing it, it pops open out of the soil and becomes a flower, becomes a bean or a tomato. My brain didn't do that. I just planted it, right? So this intuitiveness, how do we embrace this more? And how can we let go of this old paradigm? How can we release these limited beliefs? Life is hard. I have to work hard to achieve what I want. It's not easy. Plug that into prosperity, relationships, health, a new home, a new apartment, expanding your family, maybe going on a trip, right? What will be your experience if everything is perception? If our perception is a source of our creation? Well, when we get back, we're going to learn about how we can let this go and understand what we can invite in instead. All right, let's take a quick break.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to the hard skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back. This is Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul, and we're going on a journey of deep self-discovery. We're transforming our understanding of success from hard to easy. And you know what? We don't have to believe everything we think, right? Because if we do, we certainly then would have a whole lot of monkeyness going on. And guess what? Our bodies would let us know we're not on the right path. We're actually working against ourselves. And especially when we hold a paradigm, life is hard. What we set out to achieve requires hard work. We get then the experience of pressure, anxiety, burnout. Then we feel like, we might as well give up. And then we find bursts of energy and we lose lack of focus. And all of our body, our sacred temple, this vehicle in which we're expressing ourselves, right, goes through it all of that. And if we don't process these emotions and mentally change our constructs, the flow of energy actually becomes stagnant in our bodies. And when stagnant energy doesn't move, it becomes diseased because the stagnant energy actually isn't of a light frequency. And so naturally, our cells begin to interact with the unprocessed emotion and begin to start to change. And that's how we get chronic illness and disease. That's how we come down with these aches and pains and things that cause us so much suffering. So we want to remember that, because my mentor once said, everything we think has been planted in our mind. Going back into the beginning of this podcast and thinking about, where did you learn that life was hard? Life isn't easy. It requires a lot of effort. Where did this mentality come from? Because we can decide right now that we don't want to keep holding on to this. We can decide we don't have to believe relationships are hard. We don't have to believe it's hard to lose weight. We're never going to reach that, goal that we have. We don't have to believe prosperity that we desire is out of our complete realm. It's unobtainable without a lot of sacrifice. We don't have to believe that, in a partnership that we won't be valued or respected. We can actually get present. We can come into our heart and we can ask ourselves, what is this thinking costing me? What is it costing me to think this way? What am I missing out in my life by thinking like this? How am I living by holding on to this belief? What purpose is it serving me? And really feel that. So by holding on to this, I deserve to live in limitation, to feel anxiety, to feel frustration, to put feel all this pressure and for my body to take the brunt, my heart to have to pump harder, for me to then to stress eat or, find the caffeine throughout the day to get me pumped up and stay focused, to feel exhausted at night, to lose then connection with my loved ones. So if you call that a fulfilling life, to get on top of that mountain and have all of that as the effect, some people do. Or we can come up with a new paradigm. Because what if success truly is flow, just like the seed in the soil, the sunshine and the rain, that over time allows for that seed to propagate and become a flower, to become the bean, to become the tomato, to become the cucumber. It's just in flow. And it accepts what is. It goes through the rainstorms. It goes through the dry spouts. It goes through each element that it is in the condition of. And just the perfect condition, the divine conditions we can't control often sometimes, allow it for it to sprout, to come to life. What if success could mean that life is easy? It feels so odd for so many people to say that. What if life could be easy? What if that's the intuitive right brain? What if manifesting what we desire is that ease and knowing what we saw at the center of our heart and the feeling we had is living in another dimension that's only one thought away from where we currently are vibrating? Life is easy, is that vibrational shift into that dimension. I am flowing is that vibrational shift into that reality. My life is flowing. Things are in natural flow. Success is here in these opinions and the energy that exudes from them when you allow them to be your truth. But as a culture, we get fed the opposite, and we're in a lot of constructs that keep us limited from even entertaining that. And that is why it is so important to get intimate with the story that you tell. And I do that with a lot of people. I slow them down to their thinking and I help them start to see that what they've been telling themselves is actually a lie. Because it's something that they decided to think based off of something they experienced that they misunderstood and didn't truly know the true meaning of, and then made a conclusion about themselves that changed their whole life. If I had never plucked out of my garden my mind that I was ugly, I don't even know where I would be in life. I could possibly still be abusing alcohol, maybe even prescription medication like I did in college, yo-yo dieting, always battling myself, maybe going through different types of plastic surgeries, being in abusive relationships, never feeling valued or seen. It takes one opinion to be let go of to change an entire reality. We are always one choice away from our new world, our new life. From I can't to I am. It is the belief in ourselves that actually creates a whole new paradigm in which we exist. And when we can compassionately help our mind release the ways in which we've known how to live and give ourselves away, surrender, release the control, like we've been talking about in these couple episodes, and allow this divine intelligence to support us. Just like mothers in the wild, the bears and the wolves and the whales in the ocean, when they give birth, they don't expect anybody's going to be there to support them through the process. They just naturally tap into their instincts and let go and trust that this new life force is going to flow out and through them and come alive. We as human beings have lost touch with that intuitive instinct, that knowing that everything is going to be okay. even if it doesn't work out the way we expect, that it could be even better than what we could have imagined. Imagine living life like that. Imagine allowing yourself to live a life full of that kind of thinking and being. Because in that, then there's so much more rest. Work becomes joyful. Life effortlessly starts to flow. Clients come in, employees with new skill sets. People start to show up that want to give you new opportunities that are opening bigger and wider doors. Suddenly, success is now prosperity flow. Success is now a healthy relationship. Success is now you feel like you can get to the gym and you feel fit and you feel good about your eating and you now are in your clothes feel fitting like they're looser and better. And it's fun. You don't have the pressure and the hard work. And you certainly don't have the resentment, and you're not passing the same kind of heavy judgment. And these fears you once held about making a mistake or failing, you start to see they were just something you made up in your head, anticipating a past outcome that you've once experienced or saw someone else had, and you didn't want it for yourself. That has limited you in your future that you haven't even experienced yet. So, I offer you this shift tonight to think about if you were your heart, looking through the eyes of your heart, looking through the mind of your heart, the truth of yourself. And there's an infinite way to understand this life. There's no one fixed construct that we all need to live by, right, wrong, good, bad. What would you like to create? What could be possible for you? And in that, could you choose to put your focus towards life being easy? Life being for flow, success being flow from here on out. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this and being a part of this wonderful experience. Until we see each other next time, namaste.